Harold was 71 when the fall finally happened, and it shocked everyone because he did what every brochure and every friendly doctor had told him for years. He walked every single day, same route, same streets, same steady pace. Neighbors would wave and say, "You're doing great, Harold. Keep moving." And he would smile and think he was safe. One wet Tuesday morning, as he stepped off a curb he had crossed 1,000 times, his right foot slipped just an inch. His body tried to catch itself, and then the world moved faster than his legs. His hands scraped the pavement, his hip took the weight, and the sound he heard was not loud. But it was enough to send him to the hospital. Later, when the nurse adjusted his blanket, he whispered, "I walked every day. How did this still happen?" And no one in that room had a simple answer. A week later, Harold sat in a small clinic room, feet dangling slightly off the exam table, staring at the wall in front of him. The surgeon, a calm woman in her 50s, closed his chart and turned toward him. "Harold," she said softly, "walking helped your heart, it helped your lungs, but it did not train the muscles that actually stop a fall." He frowned, confused, "But I thought more walking was the safest thing for me." She nodded. "It is good, but it is not enough. After 60, the body changes. Muscle slips away, balance reacts slower, and walking alone does not tell your legs to stay strong where it matters most." She asked him to stand very slowly while she watched how he moved. He pressed his hands into the table, pushed himself upright. His knees shook, his shoulders leaned forward, and for a brief second he almost tipped. She caught his elbow gently. "See that," she said. "Your body can walk in a straight line, but it struggles to control gravity when you sit or stand or change direction. That is where people get hurt." Later that day, she led him to a plain white wall in the hallway. Nothing special, no machines, no mirrors, just a simple solid surface. "I am going to show you one wall exercise," she said. "No equipment, no weights, just this wall and your body weight. If you practice it the right way, it can do more for your independence than another hour of walking." He looked doubtful. "One exercise can really do that?" She smiled. "Yes, because it trains strength, balance, and control together, the three things that decide whether you catch yourself or hit the floor." She placed a chair near the wall, close enough for him to feel safe. "Before I teach it to you, I want you to understand something important," she continued. "What happened to you is not bad luck. It is not a moral failure. It has a name, silent muscle loss. Doctors call it sarcopenia. It starts quietly in your 40s and becomes faster after 60 every year. A little strength vanishes from your legs, hips, and back, even if you keep walking." Harold looked down at his calves and thighs. They did look smaller than they used to. "So this is why stairs feel higher and chairs feel lower," he muttered. She nodded. "Exactly. Your joints change. Your cartilage thins, nerves fire a bit slower. Your inner ear, the system that helps you balance, is not as sharp as it was. Walking forward does not challenge those systems enough. It is like playing the same simple song on a piano. Your fingers move, but they do not learn anything new." She walked to the wall and placed both hands against it. Many people your age are told the same sentence. Just keep walking. It sounds kind, it sounds safe, but it leaves out the most important part. You must also ask your muscles to work against resistance in a way that your joints can handle, and a wall is one of the safest tools you have right at home. Outside the clinic window, people hurried along the sidewalk, each step automatic, effortless. Harold watched them and suddenly felt how fragile balance really was. The surgeon stepped closer to him. "Harold, let me ask you something," she said. "Do you want to depend on a walker sooner than you need to? Do you want to keep getting up from a chair on your own, walking to your bathroom safely, maybe lifting your grandchild without fear?" His throat tightened. "Of course I want that. I do not want to be a burden." Her voice became firmer. "Then we are not just talking about fitness. We are talking about your freedom, your confidence, your dignity. And that is why this wall exercise matters more than another lap around the block." She paused, letting the words sink in. In that silence, he felt both fear and a strange hope. If simple walking was not enough, maybe simple training could still help him. She gestured to the blank wall again. "Most people think strength work means heavy weights and gyms, but for seniors, controlled body weight and a solid wall can be more powerful and far safer. Your own surgeon can approve moves like this when they are done correctly because they support joint health, protect the spine, improve circulation, and reduce fall risk. She motioned for him to stand beside the chair. Before we go further, Harold, I want you to know this. Your body has not given up on you. Muscles respond to training at 70, 80, even 90, slower than at 20, but they still respond. Decline is common, but it is not fixed. We are going to teach your body a new reflex, and you will use this wall as your partner. He took a slow breath and placed his hand on the chair back. Feeling its solid weight, somewhere inside he still doubted, but the idea that one controlled movement might change his future pulled his attention forward. If you are over 60 and any part of Harold's story feels familiar, if stairs have become a quiet enemy, or if you already know someone who fell even though they walked every day, take a brief moment now and share your age and country in the comments. It helps us understand who we are talking to, and it helps us shape safer, clearer guidance for you and people like you. Now back in the hallway, the surgeon stood with her heel a short distance from the wall, shoulders resting lightly against it. What we are going to build, she said, is your ability to sit and stand with control without dropping into a chair or pushing yourself up with your hands. This one pattern is at the center of almost every daily task: getting off the toilet, standing from the car, rising from the edge of the bed. If you train it with the support of the wall, you train your entire lower body in a way walking simply cannot. Harold watched closely, still not sure how this could be better than walking. But for the first time since his fall, he felt like there might be a clear, concrete path instead of just the vague order to move more. As the surgeon prepared to show him the first phase of the wall exercise, she knew that this single hallway moment might decide whether his next years were spent in quiet fear of another fall or in steady, practiced confidence every time he moved through his own home. The surgeon placed the chair directly in front of the wall, its back facing Harold. Then she stepped around it and gently tapped the solid surface behind him. "This wall," she said, "will be your safety net and your teacher, not just today, but at home, because this is the one place where your body can lean, learn, and grow stronger without fear of falling backward." Harold nodded slowly. Watching her every move, she took a small step forward so that her back was almost, but not quite, touching the wall. "Phase 1 is what I call the wall-guided sit and stand," she explained. "It is the doorway to the full exercise that can outwork your daily walks." She lowered her voice almost like she was sharing a secret. Most people skip this kind of move until after a fall, but those who start early often avoid the hospital bed altogether. She turned and placed her back from shoulder blades down to hips, gently against the wall. "I want you to notice something important," she continued. "My head is tall, my chest is open, knees are slightly bent, and my feet are placed a little in front of me, not under my hips, but just forward. This way the wall shares some of my weight, and my joints feel safe." Harold watched her slide down the wall a few inches and then return to standing. The motion was slow, almost like she was gliding in place. "This looks simple," she said, "but it wakes up the muscles that walking does not challenge. Your thighs, your hips, the deep muscles around your spine. When these muscles weaken, a chair becomes a trap. You drop into it instead of sitting with control, and then you need your hands and momentum to stand. That is where injuries hide." She guided him to stand between the chair and the wall. "Turn around, back to the wall," she said kindly, "and feel that support behind you." He shuffled his feet, feeling the cool paint on his shoulders. "No, notice the chair in front of you. This is your landing zone, your safety," she said. "You are not going to fall. You are going to practice control." His breathing grew a little shallow. The memory of his recent fall flashed through his mind. He could almost feel the curb again under his foot. "I am here," she added, her hand hovering near his arm. "And the wall is behind you. You are safer now than you were on that wet street." He let out a tight breath. "All right," he said, "tell me what to do." She smiled. "Good first Slide your feet a small step forward, not far, just so your knees have room to bend. Keep your back from shoulders to hips, resting lightly against the wall. Feel that support. Do not rush. He adjusted his stance, feeling awkward, but secure. No, she said, begin the movement that matters more than thousands of casual steps. I want you to breathe in through your nose, slow and steady. Then as you breathe out, let your knees bend a little and let your back gently slide down the wall like you are moving onto a soft cloud, not a hard chair. He followed her words, bending carefully, feeling his thighs tense and his knees protest slightly, but the wall held him. Stop there. She said after a few inches, do not go too low. We are not chasing depth, we are chasing control. You should feel your thigh muscles working, your heels pressing into the floor, your body supported, not dropping. His legs trembled, but the chair edge was still a safe distance below. Now push through your heels, not your toes, and slowly slide back up the wall to standing. Count to 3 in your mind as you rise. 1, 2, 3. He straightened, surprised at how much effort such a small motion demanded. I walk for 40 minutes. He muttered, and this tying up and down makes my legs shake. The surgeon nodded. That is exactly the point, Harold. Walking uses momentum and habit. Your legs swing like pendulums, but this exercise forces your muscles to carry you with intention. It tells your nervous system, your joints, and your balance centers, we are still here. We still need strength. It is the difference between idling a car and driving uphill with purpose. In that hallway, he practiced again. Slide down for 3 slow counts. Hold for a moment. Rise for 3, each repetition lighting up muscles he had not felt in years. People passed by the door. Nurses, patients, family members, but inside that small space, time slowed. Each careful descent helped rewrite the story of his last fall. If you are listening to this and picturing yourself against your own living room wall, maybe with a dining chair in front of you, pause for a moment and imagine how it would feel to move with that much control. If the idea makes sense, if you can picture this helping someone you love, consider tapping the like button and subscribing. It helps this kind of surgeon-approved guidance reach more people who quietly fear their next stumble. Back in the clinic, after several repetitions, Harold's breathing was a bit heavier, but there was a new light in his eyes. How often should I do this? He asked, wiping a small bead of sweat from his forehead. The surgeon answered clearly, we begin 3 times per week. On days you feel rested, start with 1 set of 6 to 8 controlled sits and stands along the wall. Do not chase numbers, chase quality. Every repetition should feel steady and safe. Over time, as your trust grows, we can add a second set. You do not need a gym, you do not need fancy machines. Your wall and your body weight are enough. She then explained why this pattern was so powerful. Research over the last few years has shown that training the sit-to-stand movement, with support when needed, can cut fall risk dramatically in older adults, more than just walking can, because it builds what I call real-world strength, the exact kind you need to get out of a chair, rise from the toilet, stand up from bed without tipping forward. Harold, listen, so this one move, done right, trains my thighs, hips, and balance all together. She nodded. Yes, and it also wakes up your core, the deep muscles around your belly and lower back that protect your spine when you bend, twist, and reach. When these muscles are lazy, your back takes the hit. When they wake up, your spine is safer. He shook his head slowly. No one ever told me this. They just said, Harold, keep walking. It's the best thing for you. She looked at him kindly. They were not wrong. They were just not complete. Walking still matters for your heart, your blood sugar, your mood, but we must add this wall pattern if we want to keep you independent, to keep you living in your own home, moving through your own hallway, not fearing every doorway. As the session ended, she handed him a simple printout, a drawing of a stick figure against a wall, arrows showing feet, back and chair. The instructions were short, clear, and he could almost hear her voice reading them. That night, at home, Harold stood in his own hallway, the familiar family photos on one side, a plain painted wall on the other. He set a sturdy chair in front of him, took a breath, and thought, this is not just an exercise, this is practice for my freedom. and he placed his back against the wall and began to move. Over the next few weeks, Harold turned that quiet hallway into his own private training room. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning, he would set the chair in front of the wall, place his back gently against the cool surface, and begin the same slow, careful pattern the surgeon had taught him. At first, 6 wall-guided sits and stands felt like a mountain. His thighs burned, his knees complained, and his breathing grew heavy by the 4th repetition. More than once he muttered, "How can this be harder than walking 4 blocks?" But he kept going. 3 seconds down, pause, 3 seconds up, each movement like a promise to his future self. Some days he felt strong, other days he felt tired, but the wall was always there, steady and patient, protecting him from falling backward as he relearned how to control his own weight. One Saturday, his daughter Sarah watched from the end of the hall. "Dad, that looks tough," she said softly. He smiled between breaths. "It is. But the doctor says this is my insurance policy, better than another lap around the park." A small laugh escaped him. "And cheaper than a hospital bill." She walked closer. "Do you really think this one wall exercise can make that big a difference?" He looked at her and answered, "I already feel it. Not like magic, but like my legs are waking up, like they remember their job again." By the 3rd week, something subtle changed. One evening, he stood up from his favorite chair to answer the phone and realized halfway to the receiver that he had not pushed off the armrests. His hands had stayed at his sides, his legs had done the work. He paused in the doorway, surprised, a tiny victory that no one else saw, one that meant everything. A few days later, as he climbed the 3 steps to his front porch, he noticed his foot lifting a little higher, his body leaning a little less. The fear that had settled in his chest after the fall began to loosen its grip. One morning he visited the surgeon for a follow-up. She watched him sit in the waiting room and then stand when she called his name. Her trained eye caught the difference at once. "Your rise is smoother," she said. Once they were in her office, "Less push from the hands, more power from the legs. Have you been faithful to the wall?" He chuckled. 3 days a week, just like you wrote. "My wall and I are becoming good friends." She nodded approvingly. "That is exactly how this works, Harold. Consistent, controlled practice. No rush, no heroics, just quiet strength building." She then shared something that surprised him. "We have seen many seniors like you who walk daily yet still lose the ability to stand easily. But when they add this kind of wall-assisted sit to stand, their mobility charts change. They rise faster, they sway less, they report fewer stumbles, and they gain back something even more important than strength. They gain back trust in their own body." He listened, his hands folded. "So it is not just about muscles?" She shook her head. "No, it is about your nervous system, your balance, your sense of safety inside your own skin. Walking is movement. This is training. Training tells your body, we still need power, we still need control, and the body, even at 70 or 80, listens." As their visit ended, she looked him in the eye. "Harold, you may feel like you started late after a fall, but you are not late. Your body is still responsive. Decline is not fixed. Every time you lean on that wall and stand with intention, you are choosing independence." When he left the clinic that day, the sidewalk looked different. He still watched the ground, still respected wet spots and loose gravel, but the terror was gone. In its place was a cautious confidence. If you are hearing this and thinking about your own life, maybe you have your own curb moment, a slip in the bathroom, a near fall on the stairs, or simply that slow, worrying change when chairs feel lower and beds feel harder to escape. Understand this, you are not alone. Millions of people over 60 are walking every day yet, still losing the strength that truly keeps them upright. But like Harold, you are not finished. Your muscles, your joints, your balance systems can all improve with the right kind of practice. If you try this at home, always choose a solid wall, a stable chair, flat shoes, and move slowly. If you have serious joint pain, recent surgery, or medical concerns, talk with your own doctor or physical therapist first. Ask them if a gentle wall-assisted sit and stand is right for your condition. Many surgeons quietly approve this type of move because it supports joint health, protects the knees and hips when done with control, and improves circulation, energy, and confidence without heavy impact. Imagine yourself 6 weeks from now, standing up from your chair with less effort, moving toward the kitchen without grabbing the table for support, feeling stronger on the first step of your staircase. That future is not reserved for athletes. It belongs to anyone willing to practice simple, steady movements like this 3 times a week, 15 minutes at a time. If you value clear, safe, home-based exercises like this, consider subscribing. It tells us to keep creating surgeon-approved, senior-focused guidance to help you and others stay independent. Before you go, think about one question. Which part of your daily life worries you most right now? Is it getting out of bed, walking to the bathroom at night, climbing stairs, stepping into the bathtub, or simply standing up from a chair when no one is around? Tell us in the comments. Your answers guide our next videos and help us design the next wall-based routine for you. Remember, balance is not luck, it is trained. Strength is not about showing off, it is about picking yourself up when no one is there to help. And independence at 60, 70, or 80 is not a gift that disappears overnight. It is a skill you can still protect with simple tools: your wall, your chair, your breath, and your will. Harold's story could be your story, not because of the fall, but because of what happened afterward. A quiet decision, a plain wall, one exercise, practiced with care, and the deep, steady truth that your body, even now, can still learn to stand strong.